Citroën. Citroën, that's possibly as French as it can get. I'm sure I'm not getting it right. But in English, Citroën. It's not Citroën, it's not Citroen. And you have to get used to it, folks, because yes, the brand is coming. And I'll get into more about that in just a second. But let's get that right, shall we? Sit, like I'm doing right now. Row, like row your boat. And let me unlock my phone. N. Citroën. So get used to saying that. I'm sure you can practice it and get it right. Now, the car first coming to us will be this one, the C5, and the Aircross is the very latest and the flagship from the brand in Europe as well. A compact SUV, but one which is full of significant attributes, and so expected to be positioned in that sort of Jeep Compass kind of range. But it's what happens from there on, which is going to be the more interesting part of the story. 3 products, 2021, 22 and 23, that will come 1 year at a time, but new products that don't currently exist in Citroën's lineup anywhere in the world, and products that are going to be developed keeping India in mind, but with an export potential. So there you go, the first point. From word go, exports, very key. And guess what? It's already begun. The gearboxes that are being made here locally are already being shipped and used in Europe. It's going to be the same for components. The sourcing strategy in India is not just for India, but helps make the Indian operation even more aggressive and therefore cost competitive. The third point, even the engines made here, and then of course the cars that are going to be made here, which will also be exported. 100,000 capacity to start with for Citroën, and that's conservative. And yet with that, the brand is planning to target about 2% of the Indian market. So of course, it says we're happy to go higher than that, but not typically what you hear. Brands come in and talk about 5-10% market share. Staying conservative is going to be part of the profitability promise from Citroën here in India. And that's the part that is very dear and central to that plan, as Carlos Tavares, the group CEO for PSA, shared with me.
If we consider that we have in India a competitive supplier base, it is quite clear that if you start sourcing parts in India, exporting for the rest of the world, the cost reductions that you are going to create are already paying for the local investments eventually that you'll have to do. If I take the example of our powertrain plant in Hosur, basically this investment is already paid by the cost reductions that we are able to generate compared to other sourcings in the world, which then means that by itself, this specific investment is self-sustained, so I'll put it there. And at the same time, I'm going to use it to make a deep localization for the products I want to manufacture in India for the Indian market. In the same way, if I start by saying yes to my people telling me we want a big greenfield plant, I said no, I want a small brownfield plant. It was going to be much less investment at the beginning, but then I will keep my business plan in the black, and if it is successful, of course, I'm going to saturate the plant. I will make another one. So what that means is scalability and keeping a low break-even point with the frugal investments at the beginning gives you a much longer term perspective, because then you go step by step, but you always keep your operations in the black. So those are 2 examples, and of course, if I don't spend here 200 expatriates, it will also reduce my costs. So I want to use my local Indian talent to make things even more efficient. It's a long list of things you can do to keep things aligned. It's not easy, of course, and we don't always succeed. From time to time we fail, from time to time we succeed. But at least I think we have a very Indian vision of frugality and scalability that is the best way to plan for the long term.